Psalm 114, 3 to 6 reads, "The sea looked and fled. The Jordan River turned back. The mountains leaped like rams, the hills like lambs." Why was it that you fled? Why, mountains, did you leap like rams? You hills like lambs? These verses are very poetic. But what the psalmist is illustrating is that God's election and deliverance of Israel had a powerful and lasting effect on the world at large. So great was what God did for the people that even nature noticed. The children of Israel crossed both the Red Sea and the Jordan River. When God set them free, literally, nothing could stop them when God was leading them. But it wasn't Israel per se that caused nature to sit up and take notice. It was the awesome display of God's power. It was the Lord who was victorious over the power of the sea, and nature opened a wide path for God's people because God was with them. We see that all nature responds to the power of God in two ways: fear and joy. This is how the world always reacts to God incidentally. Either they gladly accept and his word or reject him in fear, and sometimes that fear is manifested as anger. As to why the world reacts to God's presence as it does, the words of John might provide the answer. 1 John 4 3 and 4 says, "Every spirit that does not acknowledge Jesus is not from God." This is a spirit of the Antichrist, which you have heard is coming and even now is already in the world. You, dear children, are from God and have overcome them, because the one who is in you is greater than the one who is in the world. The world can recognize a child of God because God's presence is in you, just as he was with the children of Israel. Psalm 114, 7 and 8. "Tremble, earth, at the presence of the Lord, at the presence of God of Jacob, who turned the rock into a pool, the hard rock into springs of water." Verse 7 begins with the word tremble, but the Hebrew word means literally be in pain. The word is used to describe acute, sharp pain, like the pain of childbirth. This is how the earth reacts at the presence of the Lord. Verse 8 references an incident in Exodus 17:6 and Numbers 20:8-11, where God miraculously provides water for his people. There are a couple of powerful lessons to be learned from these two verses. First, notice the repetition at the presence of God. It is important for the Bible reader to take special note of repetition, especially in Psalms. If something is repeated, it is for emphasis. Why did the sea stop and flee? Because of the presence of the Lord. Why Jordan turned back? Because of the presence of the Lord. Why did the mountains leap like rams and the hills like lambs? Because of the presence of the Lord. This demonstrates forcefully the Lord is truly master over all. He is sovereign Lord of all the universe. He is the master over all nature. Verse 8 not only shows God's mastery over nature, but it shows that the wonders of God never cease. The God who was able to make water flow from a rock to quench the thirst of his people still draws from nature all the blessings his children still need. There is no situation that is so hard and so inauspicious that God cannot pull a blessing out of it for a faithful believer. Oh, what a wonderful God. Can you trust him? Be blessed.